Well, if you are a YouTube TV subscriber, you know what I'm going to talk about. You know what's happening. You know that we are into a week of this nonsense of not having basically like 22 channels that Disney owns or operates on YouTube TV. Every single Disney channel they own or operate has been taken off YouTube TV as of a week ago. Google and Disney cannot come to a decision, to an agreement. And so instead, they are just holding YouTube TV customers hostage. I know that's probably not the right term to use, but in a way, it's kind of the correct way to talk about this situation because especially those of us who have NFL Sunday Ticket, we're stuck with YouTube TV until the NFL season's over because we have Sunday Ticket that we purchased through YouTube TV. And, I still get NFL games. I'm not going to let that go to waste. But man, 10 million of us cannot watch college football on Saturday, most of college football. That's any game that's on any of the ESPN networks. So on Saturday, always Saturday football, college football. It's the biggest day of the week for college football. This will be the second Saturday that we do not get to watch the majority of college football games. And not to mention, this Monday is probably one of the biggest Monday Night Football games of the season. You've got the 6-2 Eagles going into Lambeau Field to take on the 5-2 Green Bay Packers. That game is on ABC/ESPN. Again, if you have YouTube TV, you will not be able to watch that. So the option I did last week is I got a 5-day subscription for free to Fubo TV, which I also know is owned by Disney, but I had free 5 days, so I was able to watch Monday Night Football. So now this week, I think the correct move is to go to Home Depot and buy an antenna so I can at least get over-the-air channels and get Monday Night Football on ABC. I think that's the move for this week for ABC. The other option, just for you YouTube TV subscribers, would be to get the orange tier on Sling TV. You can get a day pass for $4.99. You can get a weekend pass for $9.99, or you can get a week pass for $14.99. I think I'm going to just do the $4.99 day pass for Saturday so I can at least get ESPN and ESPN2. You do not get any of the other, I think you get ESPN3, which I didn't actually know that was a channel. Isn't that like ESPN Plus or I don't know. Anyways, so with the Sling TV Orange Tier Day Pass for $4.99, you get ESPN and ESPN2. At least I can get college football taken care of for the most part on Saturday for $4.99. And then again, like I said, I'm going to have to go buy an antenna so I can get ABC on Monday night. This is insane. This is wild. I get it. It's definitely a first world problem. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot more issues in the world that need to be dealt with, and taken care of. But as a lifelong sports fan, this is frustrating. I get it. It's not the end of the world, but it does suck when you are a customer and you've, paid for YouTube TV because you wanted to get football. You wanted to get NFL Sunday Ticket. You wanted all the ESPN networks. And now us peasants have to wait for Google and Disney to figure out their disagreement and come to a resolution and an agreement of how much money Google needs to pay Disney so we can get some of these channels back. And it's funny too, because the other day I said, can we just get ESPN and ABC back? And then I just saw yesterday that was a proposal that YouTube TV and Google brought to Disney to at least give customers ESPN and ABC. That would be amazing. That would be ideal. But all of this with YouTube TV, Disney, and all the disagreements, and there's like, if you've been a YouTube TV customer for a while, like here's the bummer too. When I first subscribed to YouTube TV, it was $35 a month when I became a subscriber. It was a while ago. Now for the basic model, the basic plan for YouTube TV, it is $82.99 a month, which, let me bring this up. If you are a YouTube TV subscriber, go into your account and manage your account. I actually had a promo code in there, which they say has nothing to do with this dispute, but I get $10 off a month for the next 6 months. So it doesn't necessarily make up for not having ESPN. I would rather just pay the $82.99 a month and get my football. But for the next 6 months, I'm only going to have to pay $72.99 because there was a promo deal rebate in my account. So go check your YouTube TV account. You may or may not have one. They said it's not for everybody. Everybody's not going to get this, but I was lucky enough to have that in my account. So I guess that's a win, kind of, that I get, $10 off for the next 6 months. So $60 off total. I'll take it. It's better than nothing. It's better than a kick in the pants. That's what my dad used to say. He still says it, actually. What does that even mean? But there's that. So there are options. Again, I know this is a first world problem, but it's frustrating, especially when it's something you're expecting to get and something you've paid for and you're paying for. You would expect to get those channels. And this brings up a much, much bigger topic, and that is streaming versus cable TV. Cable TV has been around forever. Not forever. Depends on how old you are. But I don't know when cable TV came about. The 60s or 70s maybe? Like the basic option of cable TV maybe. I remember as a kid in the 80s, we had a box on top of our huge clunky TV, and it had a dial on it, and I think it went up to 30 maybe. So like channel 1 through 30, or like channels 1, 2, and 3 weren't even anything. Like 3 was what you put it on to play Atari and Nintendo. But then like I remember Nickelodeon was 19. Nickelodeon was channel 19 when I was a kid. I think PBS was like 13. So I do remember some of that weird random stuff, as a kid. But that's my first memory. My first memory of cable TV was it was a black box on top of our TV with like maybe 25 channels. And I really only remember channel 19 was the Nickelodeon channel. Also, we didn't have a remote. So I was the remote for my family because I was a kid at this time, 5, 6, 7 years old. So if we wanted to change the channel, I'd get up and change the channel to whatever. Like, hey, son, can you go to the news on channel 4? I'd turn that dial to channel 4. That was how I remember cable TV as a kid. And then, of course, it got more advanced in the 90s, more ESPN networks, more TV channels, all of that stuff. But I say all this, cable TV hit its peak, though. You would have thought earlier than that. But I guess with streaming and everything coming out in the, 2000s, early 2000s. Well, no, actually like 2010 or whenever. Maybe a little after that, streaming TV came out. But cable TV subscribers hit its peak in 2010. There were 105 million households in the United States that had cable TV. Now, today, this year, that number's down to 69 million, and it might even be less. This was taken from a month or two ago. That number's probably less now. And so, but the number I have is 69 million households have cable TV that's not streaming. So, people still have cable TV. I know I could get cable TV, but I loved the option of not having to because this is how they sucked you into it. YouTube TV was $35 a month. Well, yeah, I can get those channels for $35 a month, or I can pay, Cox or Spectrum or whoever $100 a month and get maybe some more channels, but channels I don't watch. So yeah, these streaming services definitely took advantage of the early adopters, however you use that word, and you paid $35 a month for YouTube TV. Yeah, what a great deal. So of course people were cutting their cord. That's what they call it, right? Cut the cord. People were leaving cable TV in droves. If that number went from 105 million 15 years ago to 65 million, I mean, that's what, basically cut in half almost? Pretty close. So YouTube TV, I would say, was a early early platform to streaming to get live TV because they now have 10 million subscribers. And I wrote some numbers down. 10 million subscribers on YouTube TV. Hulu plus live TV now has 4.3 million. Fubo TV 1.6. Sling TV 1.9. Something called, I think it's Philo 1.3 million. So people have cut the cord and they've gone to these different streaming services. That's still not a whole lot of people. There's still way more people using cable TV. So maybe they were the smart ones holding out. And I would also probably say of those 65 million, it'd be interesting to see the demographics of just the age of who still has cable TV like that. Because I know my parents do. And I guarantee you that that is an older demographic. Of those 65 million households, I'd say well more than half are probably over the age of 65. But man, it's just interesting to see how cutting the cable sounded so great at first. And now here we are, and it sounds like the worst idea. Like, if I have any recommendation, don't cut the cord. Keep your Cox cable. Because especially if there's going to be disputes like this, where stuff gets blacked out more and more, it's going to be super annoying. Super, super annoying. And I'm hoping, I talked about how this Monday night is a huge NFL game. I'm hoping that Google and Disney come to their senses. Because again, the only person getting screwed in this is the customer. Neither of these companies are really getting screwed in this. These companies are worth billions of dollars. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a solution that they should be able to figure out that doesn't break the bank. And I got to be honest, I think this deal that they've had has been in place for several years. So YouTube TV / Google and Disney have had this deal for, I think, 3 years now. Something like that. So yeah, it was time to negotiate, and I get it. And still, I'm okay with paying a little bit more per month. I'll pay $90 a month because it's still cheaper than paying classic cable TV company. YouTube TV, I would pay $90 a month to have all those companies back that are owned by Disney. It's worth it. I definitely think it's worth it. And I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. And so I don't know what's going to happen. Again, like I said, we're a week into this nonsense where Google and Disney can't come to an agreement. The only people it's hurting is the customer. And I just feel like the longer this drags on, more and more people are just going to get disgusted with these people and these companies. There was a poll that for Google of who was going to drop YouTube TV or who already had. And of the people who took the poll, it was 24%. And I know there's margins of errors in polls, but that's a quarter of your subscribers saying they're willing to drop YouTube TV if they can't come to an agreement with Disney. That's a lot of people. Is that going to hurt your bottom dollar more than not giving Disney what they want? That's a question that needs to be figured out. Serious business decision. If Google was to lose 25% of their YouTube TV subscribers, is that going to hurt them more than paying a little bit more for Disney? I don't know. Those are things that have to be weighed out and discussed. But when it really comes down to it, and I think that's where this really comes into, what am I trying to say? I'm just saying the people who are upset by this are sports fans. People who are like, how many people are really upset that National Geographic or FX is taken off of YouTube TV? Not as many as people who watch college football on Saturdays. Especially I grew up in Oklahoma. That's what you do on Saturdays in the South and the Midwest. You watch college football. And now with 10 million subscribers, out of luck, it's going to be interesting. And again, I will say that I think the move this weekend is a day pass for Sling for $4.99 to at least get ESPN and ESPN2. And I'm going to see if I can find a cheap antenna to get Monday Night Football on ABC, because those are the only options right now. Because these two billionaire companies can't come to an agreement. It's really sad and unfortunate that they are doing this to customers. You would think they would figure this out. I don't understand why and how it's so hard, but just the fact that customers are missing out. And it will be interesting to see once this all clears, however many days it goes on, the statistics of how many people did actually drop YouTube TV. Because again, like I said, if you've got Sunday NFL Ticket, you can't drop YouTube TV. And here's the other thing. If I did drop YouTube TV, I'm not sure where I would go because I don't want to give more money to Disney. So Hulu plus Live TV and Fubo TV, those are owned by Disney. So that's also another conundrum that people have to decide and figure out for themselves. If they don't want to give more money to Disney, where are they going to go? Back to cable TV? Do I go back to Cox Cable, but then still pay more money than what I'm paying for YouTube TV? And so I don't want to do that either. I'm hoping they get it figured out. I'm hoping that it happens quickly. My gut says that it will happen before Monday Night Football. I honestly think they'll get it figured out because they're going to lose viewers. That's going to happen. And on the other side of it, I know there's a conspiracy theory that, oh, well, Disney and ESPN just launched ESPN Plus Unlimited. I get that they want people to go to that app or download that and pay for that. Sure, I get that. But they also don't want to lose cable subscribers because with their networks on cable TV and on YouTube TV, they're still making money from commercials and ads and sponsorships and from every subscriber. I think I read somewhere that if you subscribe to YouTube TV, it's somewhere like around $10 per subscription goes back to Disney because they do have 22 channels on there that aren't on there right now, but it's a lot of money. So what do they want? They want $15 per customer or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers. They're not going to release the exact numbers. We know that's not going to happen, but it's just wild. And I get it. Suck it up. It's just cable TV. Suck it up. It's just ESPN you don't get to watch. I understand that. I understand that it's a first world problem, but that is also something I'm passionate about and that millions of Americans are passionate about is college football. So that's a fan base that Disney and Google are really ticking off right now. And I wish there was another option. I wish that Disney didn't even own ESPN. I wish that wasn't even part of it. But that's a whole other story that goes way back further than any of this stuff. And we'll see what happens. But it's Friday. This all started last week. So this will be the second week without college football on the ESPN networks for YouTube TV subscribers. Trying to think if there's anything else that I want to hit on this because I could go on and on. I also know that ESPN, with their licensing and broadcasting rights, I'm not sure what the financials look like, but they have paid so many millions and millions of dollars to get the SEC on ESPN and most of college football on ESPN, NFL on ESPN, and then all the other college sports, NBA, NHL. There is a ton of money that they owe to these organizations. So I get that side of the business too. They've got to bring in money somehow, some way to pay for all of this. I get that, but it's just going to be interesting to see what happens and how this all shakes out. And then when it does shake out, how much is my YouTube TV bill going to go up per month? Is it going to go up to $89.99 a month to pay for this? It might, but is that still a good deal? In the long run, I think so. It's still cheaper than cable TV that I get through another option that's not streaming. So I'm just holding out. I know a lot of people are. And I know that there are people who have Hulu plus Live TV and Fubo TV, but I'm going to guess those people don't have YouTube TV. And I'm also going to guess those people maybe who had YouTube TV canceled their YouTube TV and went over to those other options. I get that. I think that's valid. I know there's so much that goes into this that's way above my pay grade, but I think the bottom line and the thing that bothers me the most is just that it does not feel like they care about the customer at all. Where then they say, like, I get it. Google says, well, no, we do care about the customer because we don't want to have to raise your rates. I get that side of it also, that the argument that they do care about the customer. But I also feel like people would be okay if rates have to go up, even if they only had to go up $4. Great, $86.99 a month. Okay, whatever it might be. I think most people are willing to pay that. It's a coffee from Starbucks. Don't get Starbucks for one day out of the month or whatever. You know what I mean? However, that goes. All of that to say, I hope I get to watch college football this weekend. I hope I get to watch Monday Night Football on Monday. And for those of you who aren't YouTube TV subscribers, congrats, because you stayed out of this mess. And for those of you that are YouTube TV subscribers, hang in there. It's going to get worked out. You're going to get your football back, and or your National Geographic or FX or Disney or whatever other channels they own on there. It's a lot. It's Friday night. Have a good week and watch some football for me if I can't. See ya.